Lexi is. Okay, I'll go.
Ready? Go.
Hi you guys, this is Gwendolyn, and for today's video, I'm going to be continuing my discussion of relationships, but today I'm going to be joined by Lexi Pooh and her boyfriend. Hi you guys, and I would like to first of all introduce my guest. You guys, this is Kris, Lexi's boyfriend, and you guys know Lexi Pooh. Hello. She's not behind the camera right now, you guys. She got advice for you today. So we decided today to go on a little bit more in detail with the two of them here to speak on things like what a man attracted to and things like that. I thought it would be a good idea since they're both here and they can give you their perspective of how they met and things like that. So I'm going to let them take the floor now.
So where do you want to start? You want to ask us a question?
What are men attracted to? How did you two decide that this worked for you two? And first of all, if you met on the internet or anything like that, would you be willing to let people know about that as well? Because that's where a lot of us are meeting people nowadays. So,
sure. Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me on. So honored to be here.
Oh, Mr. Handsome, yeah.
I feel like the cream in the middle of the Oreo right now.
Exactly.
So yeah. I get this question quite a bit because I have a lot of friends that are like, wow, because Lexi's black and you're white and you guys seem so different. Where'd you guys meet and what's it like and all this stuff? And I try not to place too much emphasis on the racial thing, and I always try to, my worldview, I wasn't raised in a way to look at people any different from a different race. There's one race, the human race,
That's right.
I know that we all come from different cultures and have different backgrounds and skin colors and also, but it is an interesting question, and we did meet online, as many relationships these days do happen, and I got no shame in that. I think it's a great way to do it, Relationships are all about putting yourself out there, getting your information out to meet the person that you want to meet, making sure that you're looking for the right qualities in that individual, and the online resource can be a great way to do that. It can also be a great way to do it the wrong way. So I found somebody who shares the interest with me and doing it the right way, and here we are.
I've done the online dating, you guys, before, and that's where my previous relationship was based off of online. It could work. Yeah, so, and that was 17 years. So still, like I say, it does work. What do you think, Lexi?
Lexi Pooh. With online dating in general, I liked it because I personally don't go out a lot. And I'm usually either with the family or I'm working, and when I am doing social stuff, I'm more focused on my fitness competitions, or if it's work related, I'm focused on just hanging out with my coworkers and stuff like that. So going online.
Yeah, your school is even online, so
my
you're
school's
really
online. Everything I use is online.
You're mostly online.
Using an online source for dating, it worked for me because I was able to see different people in the area. Well, Kris does not live in the same city that I do, but that gave me a chance to branch out as well and not just stay within my city limits. So that was good. And then it just let me see different people, meet different people. And Kris was actually, with the dating site that I was using, Kris is actually the only person I went out with. And it just happened to work out. Yeah.
Oh! That's
so
good.
It ended up working
because
out.
you know what probably happened? You two probably were pretty clear in your profile of what you were looking for. So you didn't need to go through lots of people, I'm guessing. Or you two, when you connected, you started pretty much.
I don't remember what Kris had too much on his profile in terms of, like, you know how you can give your little bio.
But you guys started probably texting or something and get to know a little bit more clear.
I ended up replying, exactly, and it got more clear. We ended up talking on the phone that night, and that's something, I don't like to talk on the phone, really, but I talked to Kris on the phone the same night that we started talking.
Chris was the one that she talked about.
So,
You never talk on the phone.
I always say no, I'm not ready to exchange numbers and stuff like that. But so I didn't give my number to anyone else, but I gave my number to Chris and we talked that night. I think we went out the next day or something, didn't we? Or the day after?
I think it was the next day or one day after. Maybe it was the next day.
I think it might be the next day.
Oh, you know what? Let me ask you this, since you said that you guys were talking about that. When I met my person online years ago, this was years ago, I don't remember, I think it took me a little while to give out my phone number, but because I received his phone number first. So what do you guys think about that? So like a lot of people date online, how long should you wait to possibly give out your number or something to come off the site and start interacting with one another?
I liked that Chris went ahead and asked for my number, or asked to talk on the phone rather, but I don't know, I guess it was just because how our conversation was going online, because other people had asked and I said no. So it just kind of, to me, just kind of depends on how the conversation was flowing, but I think our conversation was flowing really well, so I did want to just go ahead and talk to him, and after that I wasn't back on the site, so.
Yeah, I don't think there needs to be a necessary rule to that. I think, like Lexi was saying, you just gotta feel it out and see where the texting is going or the emailing is going. What kind of topics are they covering, and are they really, tugging on your heartstrings with what they're saying, so you want to talk to them. But I do think that I do believe that the guy should initiate that, and that he should be the one to pursue and begin that pursuit. I think it's kind of backwards, and it would push me away if a woman was like, hey, let me get your number, let's talk on the phone, that's...
I concur.
Yeah, so...
I'm with you. That's a good way of looking at it, because I know we were sitting here earlier, you guys, and sort of talking about the era of where we're dating now, and most people do rely on online, and that's a good thing, because I know sometimes people get boggled with, like what he just explained, should I just go ahead and sort of prompt that? And remember we talked about whether or not a person is ready for a relationship in one of my previous videos? That kind of hits on this too. Because Kris is saying pretty much the guy is going to put it out there, like I said, if a person is interested in you, they're going to make it known some type of way.
Yes,
and asking for a phone number to be able to remove yourself from the site possibly, to get to know one another is a step.
Yeah, I know Chris's profile and mine too. We put that we were both wanting a long-term relationship, and that was the vibe I was getting from
being specific about what you're looking for.
Exactly. So.
And then there's a lot of wisdom in the online thing with limiting the amount of options you have, because there can be an infinite amount.
Yes.
Especially the women, I'm sure, get bombarded, and I give you guys all the props in the world for having the courage to go on.
I know. It's like
thing to do. It's bad enough as a guy, I imagine the girls. But yeah, you have to be willing to set limits on how many people you're willing to even consider at a time, so that you can give that person or those people, before you talk to them, before you date, all that, you got to be able to narrow those options down in a mature way, so that you don't fall into the trap of just being a serial dater that's never really getting to. It's like, I don't remember, is this the person that said that?
Yeah, exactly.
I think she said this, but I don't really recall. You're not getting to know her or him. You got to be able to get to know them. You got to put boundaries on that, and beware of the serial dating trap that exists in the online world. It will suck you in, and it will rob you. It's not what it's about.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, pretty much, like I said, we were talking about before, knowing what you're looking for. If you are looking for long term, you got to weed out just all the distractions. Of just because people give you compliments and everything. Don't we get a list?
You get a lot of messages, and you can see a lot of people, so you have a lot of options, and you have to make sure that you don't get swallowed up in that, and just stay online talking to a bunch of people, or just going out with a bunch of people, or whatever the case may be. When I started talking to Kris, I was just talking to Kris. And then when we started talking on the phone, I wasn't online talking to anybody else, because I didn't feel a need to. I wanted to talk to him and get to know him. And when we went out, I was just going out with him. And I felt like, if that didn't work out, that was fine. Then I would go back online and talk to one person, go out with them, see how that went. That's just how I personally like to do it.
And did you guys ever get, okay, when I started dating online years ago, 17 plus years ago, okay, we didn't have the Facebook and Skype like you guys have now, pretty much, or it wasn't popular. I should say it wasn't popular. So do you guys think it's a good idea to start talking and then to at least see whom you're speaking with, to try to avoid the catfish type of thing?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about somebody by their Facebook profile.
Absolutely.
Kris gives me all of his information in one of his messages. All of his
that's a person serious. That's
and everything.
That's something to look into.
I
When
knew
people,
his first and last name, his Facebook. I knew all of that.
See?
Before I
That's what
saw
my
him.
previous time dating online, that's what happened.
I gave her my rap sheet, my
everything.
police report.
That's good. That's it. That would draw that. She's like, oh, he
No,
is.
I will admit
Exactly.
he was very upfront with
Everything
about
where he
him,
growing
so I
up
could
and
know
everything.
him. He was very upfront about everything, and that was really early on. That was our, second, third date or something. I knew pretty much everything I needed to know, or felt like I needed to know about him right off the bat. So I could make a decision one way or another if I wanted to continue seeing him, and vice versa if he wanted to continue seeing me. So
seeing you guys, reiterating, be clear about what you want and treat people the way you expect to be treated. If you want to get to know someone, put a little bit more of you out there for that individual. But I wouldn't share everything with everybody. That's why you got to, I think the online dating is for a mature-minded individual. You would agree? Because it is a lot of distractions, and especially ladies, we get all of these, oh, you're so beautiful, you're this, you're that, and it's not arrogance, it just keeps, but you got to get beyond complimenting someone, and I'm sure Kris gets,
was hi, can I get to know you, or something like that. And that's
aren't the
simple.
basics, don't try the lines, don't try all of that suave anything, I'm just being honest, in my opinion, just be yourself. Be yourself. If you're looking for that in return, if you're looking for whichever type of relationship you're looking for, and I'm guessing you're online because you're looking to connect with someone, be very, very, very clear about what you're looking for and what you're seeking out in another person, correct? Because I'm telling you, it's all over the place. But that's a good thing. And then, like I said, a Skype, I think it's really wise to go ahead and try to see one another. And if, in my opinion, I remember when I initially started out in this, I met people in a public place.
Yes.
I decided to, because of what, we weren't Skyping as much then. It wasn't that. So I made it clear that go to, like, if this is one of your options, I'm going to ask you guys what you think about that. If you decide that you're going to see the person in person, do you think it's a good idea?
I think it's a good idea to have.
I've met in malls and things like that to initial
see it. With Kris, I had Kris pick me up, and you saw him, so somebody knows who I'm going out with, and then we went out to a public place. Let
people know who you're with. Let somebody know who you're out with, right?
Yeah. But in general, if you're going to meet up with someone, I think meet up in a public place, not somewhere.
But you two connected a little bit enough to where you probably felt like he was pretty, especially for him to share so much of himself with you. You probably felt like, okay, this may be okay to let him come by to pick you up and things.
It's like I make decisions based on how conversations are going, because I've just gone out to just meet people and didn't have them come by the house at all. And I just left Mom with like a picture or something. She knows who I'm going out with, and I text her, I'm with so and so now. We're at the restaurant, whatever the case may be. But with how the conversation was going with Kris, I made the decision that, he could pick me up, or I would suggest that, or whatever, however we decided on that.
So let me interject so I can offer a little, because some people may be thinking, well, what is he saying? That's making you feel comfortable.
Exactly, good idea. That's a good.
So my whole thing is, it's based on like the end goal of any relationship, and it starts with the first date. It starts with the first phone call. That's where you set the trajectory for your relationship, and your momentum begins there. And you don't want to put all your laundry out,
exactly.
But you want to be able to give the person enough of a genuine insight into your life and who you are. And so you should talk about certain things that are maybe a little revealing about yourself. Say, here's what I grew up, here's my story, this is where I'm at, this is where I was, these are my goals. And let them know stuff about you, even things that may expose you. Because in order for the goal for any relationship to work, which is emotional intimacy, you have to become vulnerable.
Exactly.
And the sooner
Absolutely.
you can get there, the sooner you can get there, the sooner that process can begin, and that beautiful connection takes time, but the sooner that it will blossom, it'll take time. So it starts with, may start on the first date when you're sharing details about your life and maybe like some hurts in the past. You don't want to drink, you don't want to drag ex drama and stuff into that, but just things about you, what you like, what you're into, what you've been through, etc. And let them know that you are genuine and transparent, and that your motives are,
exactly.
That comes out in
Yeah.
that.
I agree.
The other thing that I want to touch on with this is, where is a good place to take a first date?
That's a good idea. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Because that's important. I usually would recommend, especially for online dating, meeting somewhere like a Starbucks or somewhere that's social and public, and that you're not going to get stuck there for a long time. If it's a
lunches and brunches are really good too.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's true.
It's true.
The physical attraction thing is a legitimate category. It's not everything, but it is a legitimate category. And you may have connected like 100% on the phone when you talk to them, and then they show up and you're like, who the heck are you?
Yeah.
And so it's good to be able to have kind of a, all right, there's my, I'm done with this coffee. I'll see you later. I gotta go.
And I like to do that. You saying coffee, but I like to do lunch and brunch because it doesn't tie you down for a dinner. Dinner is just long, drawn out. It goes on and on. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
I like something quick enough, like a lunch or a brunch, like what he was saying. Even though he was joking about the coffee and getting in and out of there, but if you like one another early on, then you could probably plan a dinner later, correct? Because you feel kind of trapped for that being your first. Unless you really started vibing with the person, you know what I'm saying?
So with Lexi and I, actually our first date was actually dinner.
Because you two started vibing already.
Yeah, we connected in a very deep way that was meaningful, on the phone. And I think I didn't have any, I just didn't question her authenticity. And a lot of this stuff goes down, especially ladies, you guys have intuition, use your intuition. And a lot of it
out of the country. Intuition.
A lot of that comes down to just kind of like the gut feeling that you get about the person too. So we had a nice long dinner and hung out and had a great time for our first date.
What's up, Dan? My first day, I went out all the way. Went out of the country. Well, just over to Mexico because we all live in Cali, and that was some intuition and a half. That was the Lord sitting here. That was Jesus. That was, wasn't it? But we agreed to take our kid with us as well. So I'm thinking, okay, what's the likelihood? It could have happened, but
it ended up working out just fine.
But we talked for a while. I'm brave. And then we talked for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Before going out, you guys had been talking.
We talked, and I know talking like, what was that person saying? It was just one of those things, and I just felt okay. Yeah. I just felt from the initial meeting, I felt okay. And then I don't know why, I just did. No, I just like, shut up. No,
you have to go with your intuition.
That's a really good thing. But anyway, so glad you brought that up because I know a lot of people are thinking, how do we get this going? And then when we were talking about like what people are attracted to, what men are attracted to, that hits onto that when you were talking, when Kris noticed you. I'm sure you were showing some element of confidence in yourself. Women don't understand how important that is. To be comfortable and confident with whom you are. Of course, the man. Yes. But it matters. Don't show up with this weight of baggage from all the things you've gone through out the gate. Like I said before on my last video, leave the house with a clear mind. Then you can listen to your stuff. You can listen to your gut.
Exactly.
You can listen to that intuition. When you don't have all of this baggage, you can't be desperate and all of these things. You can hear clearer.
Exactly.
What you right, in my opinion. So that matters a lot.
I would I definitely commend you for how you raised her and how you taught her this stuff, because really, like, I've dated, and I'm not proud of it, I have dated several women, I've never been married, so I've dated several, had a lot of long-term relationships. I'm not just some player or anything like that.
Which is good.
But I've dated enough and I've seen enough to make my own observation about this, and I would say that there is an issue with people being insecure. and they project that.
That's
so
right.
They have to be clear-headed, and they have to be confident who they are and know what they bring to the table.
Exactly.
You gotta know you have value, you're worth something,
That's,
and you deserve to be pursued.
That's right.
So, and that goes both ways.
That's right. Absolutely.
But yeah, we gotta be confident and project that, because now we're bringing a healthy environment into this relationship, and not one that's gonna promote doubts and insecurities and fears and do they really feel this? I don't know, you know, like the whole push-pull thing that can come from that, it can become unhealthy.
Yeah,
so when two people are like confident and open and willing to like present themselves for who they are and then be, you know, healthy with their communication. This is one thing that I learned about this subject too, that many people make the mistake with dating of remaining independent, too independent. And then many people make the mistake of becoming codependent on each other.
Absolutely.
We've all seen it, and maybe we've dated a stage 4 clinger. I call them barnacles because they just cling on, and then, you know, we've all seen this. So, you know, the codependent thing's unhealthy. The independent thing's unhealthy because they're never really getting to that place of emotional intimacy where they can really get to know the person.
It has to be a balance. It has to be a balance.
And it's interdependent. Interdependent, where they are good together, they're good when they're apart, they have healthy balance of their own personal lives, goals, etc. And then they're continually interested in each other and always pouring into that and serving each other. And that's where I feel like we have a really good connection with that. So,
absolutely. They have a really good connection, I'm telling you. It's fun watching them, you guys. They are really they are really funny together watching you two. I'm telling you, they are really a happy element to watch. I see Lexi happy by herself. I see Kris when I know Kris does his own thing on his time. You guys just got a really good start. I think it's a really, really good jump start. I'm serious. You're not going in with a lot of stuff from your past, not a lot of anything. I think it's amazing. But you had to clear yourself for that, correct? Had to grow up and decide I got to drop that last everything. You got to let it go.
Yeah, I think we met at a good time, at least in my life. I communicate a lot more than I ever have. But also it's just that I've always felt very comfortable with Kris enough to express myself and to communicate and to just say whatever's on my mind, good or bad, indifferent, whatever the case may be. So I've always felt that from our first date on. And he's always been consistent with that as well in expressing himself.
Because remember last time we talked, we spoke on why am I always attracted Mr. Wrong or Mr. and Mrs. Wrong? Like I said then, this goes to show it's right timing for people that individually have been growing to be better, the individuals, and met up with you two, met up that way. You can't drag on all of your things from your past, your baggage and everything, and then looking for that perfect somebody to pull you through life. You can't. It just won't happen. As great as they are, you become the weight. You will become weight. You don't want to be weight to someone else. You definitely don't want to be, you know, someone being weight to you, in my opinion. So that matters. It really matters to make sure you're ready for, if that's what you're asking for long term, be ready for long term. Right? Don't want to miss that opportunity.
And that takes courage.
Absolutely.
Takes somebody who's willing to be strong enough to lay the cards out and say, here I am. When we do that, what we're doing, when we come like open with somebody and vulnerable, we're giving them, we're giving them ourselves, and that's what we have to do.
We have to.
For a relationship to work.
That's right.
But we're also giving them the power to hurt us.
That's right.
We can be hurt if they don't respond how we want them to, right? But that's just how it goes, and you know, if it's a healthy connection, it will work. But we have to be brave enough to let go of that stuff in the past and to take our minds off to all the distractions of, you know, the serial dating or whatever is like coming at us that can lead us away from investing in one person. And I really do feel sorry for the people who find themselves in that trap, because they're missing out on the best thing ever, which is to be in love with the person you're with.
Absolutely.
And you can never get there if you're not willing to let go of the stuff in the past and block out the distractions and focus on the person that you're with, because it's such a blessing to be with somebody that you love.
I had to learn that. I was so used to being my way, myself, things through the years, I had a really hard time letting myself be totally vulnerable because I came from the era of, and the culture and all the above of a strong woman in what we thought that meant.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It was an understanding of what I confused that with. And I was sort of brought in the time frame under, you don't need this and that and other. And that was just the era of what we grew up. And not this bad or good. You have to learn to break down the walls of what you're hearing and what you learn and what you study. You have to not just take it at face value. And I had to tear that apart and realize it's okay to need another human. We weren't created to be alone. In any perspective, you do need another person. So I had to break those walls down. I did. And when I did, watching my daughters, watching you and watching Monica, because I was that person that felt like that made me feel weak to be vulnerable, let them see the broken things I've been through or whatever. I did. Now, what did they tell you? Those skeletons are everywhere. I opened the closet and they flew out.
I will say that I never felt like I needed to be strong and not be vulnerable or anything like that, but it's always been my choice not to disclose certain things.
And that's okay too. You don't have to
close off.
Yeah.
And I know that. But I will say I've been open with Kris.
You've wanted to share more with Kris. That's the difference. And that's still a good characteristic you have, because you are not afraid to share. You're just feeling like this person, this is not my journey with this human, so I'm not going to share all of that with this person. Because they're not going to take that and help nurture anything. They're going to take that and do something that lesser than what you want with that. You're correct. And that's what Kris was talking about earlier too. You don't give everything of yourself. You have to, then again, think about who can take that much at one time. Let them breathe, like behind whatever it is. But yeah, but sharing is very much necessary. But we're not talking about just throwing out your whole everything out on a first date or two. My gosh, mine would have been a long date. I'm just saying.
I think that, because the way that my mind works, I'm very objective about things, and I like to see patterns and systems and things, and to be able to be like, okay, well, this is what works. And what I've learned from studying this subject or talking about it and gaining wisdom from others is that every relationship is going to be based around a few different categories. One of them is going to be virtue. The other one's going to be utility, which is money. This person benefits my career, etc. And the other one's going to be pleasure. They're all good in and of themselves, but if the scales are tipped too far in one way, then it can be bad. And I would say that a good way to kind of check the pace of your relationship that you're in or that you're considering is ask yourself and really meditate on that, and what is it that I'm attracted to in this person? If it's only the pleasure category because they stimulate your nerve endings and they are funny and you guys laugh a lot, and there's no trust there. They're not transparent with me. They're not showing me sacrificial love where they're willing to consider my needs greater than theirs and go out of their way for me. Or these other things that are virtuous, if they're not doing that stuff, then you have to really be careful before you dive headfirst into that.
Exactly.
And of course the same is true if it's only about money. And of course, especially I can only imagine from a woman's perspective on that, where they may be looking for a family relationship and wanting a husband, and they should have a husband who's got his feet grounded. He's got a career, or he's career-minded, he's going places, he's doing things, he's financially responsible. Of course, those are all great categories, but to only see that and overlook the virtue category will put you into a dangerous place. And I've learned my lesson on the years that I've been dating the hard way. Some of those. So we learn, we take stuff from the bad experiences, and we bring wisdom into the next one, and that's really the best mentality you can have with that. So you don't get stuck.
Exactly.
That's right, because what we're basing all of this on is the assumption that people are looking for long term. Long term means, like Kris is saying, you can't just just focus on, okay, he can provide for me or she can provide for me. You can't just focus on that. You can't just focus on, I'm attracted to the way that person looks or some characteristics about that person. You got to get a whole package going to sustain that, right? To keep that relationship going. So that's what that's a good point you made.
And it's about every relationship, especially once you guys have become monogamous. Once you're entering that, okay, it's just us, you and me, we're not somebody else. Which is the first goal. That's the check mark number one. You know.
That's how you're able to share everything.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
You're clear.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's, you've made yourself vulnerable for that person.
That's right.
Congratulations, you're brave, and you've stepped into that. That is where adjustments are made. If we don't make these adjustments, like checking our, you know, who we're communicating with, you know what I mean? Like if we're doing that, but we still have some kind of ongoing, like, communication with girls we used to date or guys we used to date, then there's going to be danger there.
You got to cut that out.
We already discussed boundaries before, and we still do. Now we still will bring it up with each other, and we stick to what boundaries that we've set.
And doesn't it start with respecting one another out the gate?
Exactly.
That's a given. Yeah. And I know some people preach all the time or say that, oh, respect is earned. No, it is not, in my opinion. Trust is earned.
Exactly.
Respect one human to another is just the beginning of any relationship. I don't care if it's a kid and a parent. I don't care if it's a teacher and a student.
Exactly.
Respect keeps you coexisting with other people.
Exactly.
That keeps you at a boundary point where you don't cross certain lines out of mere respect for one another.
Yeah, Kris knows who I'm talking to, or I'm on social media and things like that. And so if a guy messages me or something like that, Kris knows, because I'm gonna bring it to the attention.
But you guys keep it broad. Like for instance, if somebody's sending you, following you, or whatever. It's a broad perspective of that. You don't have these little
I don't have
side off
conversations with men. I just don't. And it's not to, you know, disregard the friendships I've had.
And it's not hard, is it? To just like, no.
I just don't feel the need to hang out with another man, and Kris isn't there. It's another thing if it's a group setting and Kris is with me, but just one-on-one, I just don't feel the need to do it. And it's not because he's controlling.
And you know, other people would test towards her.
Yeah,
they would test. They would test that, and they would see if you're willing to play. And then they will. And I say this, and I know some people think sometimes, just for a second, I'm thinking about this. When people do that, when they come in to tempt what you got going, I'm telling you, in my opinion, they do that, and those people should always think, if they would do that to me, if they allow me to do that, they would do that to me.
They're saying, if I will do it for you, I'll do it to you.
Exactly. And I know, even though people don't want to own that, and I do believe that sometimes there's that soulmate that may be in a situation right now. You can believe that if you want, or people say, well, I really love this person, but I like this person is this and that and other. But there again, on the previous video, I spoke on making sure a person is available for you. That means both people got to be willing that we're going to go from where we came and come here together. You got to both be available.
I agree.
Can't build anything on non-availability. You just really, you can't. So, but I agree with what you're saying, especially being so much social media. Don't let all these people get to your ear, you know.
I just don't think that it's worth that.
They're just distractions.
Literally.
And they can destroy something that could become amazing, some kind of good thing that you have going. And just be smart, be wise, make those adjustments early on, because it's best for your relationship, but more importantly, because you care about the person you're with.
That's right.
And you don't want to hurt them. So that's the #1 motivator for that.
And if that's in you, don't get into that long-term relationship. If you know you're weak to all the attention that you're looking for, seeking, and I always preach on that, always go there, make sure it's positive attention. Don't let someone be a negative distraction to you. The grass is not green on the other side, as I always have said. Someone is maintaining that lawn as well. It's not just taking care of itself. So, yeah, so that's a good point.
And then I would also say that if you find yourself in a relationship with somebody who's not willing to make those adjustments, then you better be very careful about advancing in that.
Absolutely.
You may want to really consider that and step out of it. That's my advice. I've been through it. I was in a relationship for over 2 years with somebody who I continually kind of butted heads with in this department, and I'm definitely not the controlling type. I'm not the jealous type. I would rather sit back and watch and see how people are going to be rather than tell them what I think they should do. I want to see, you know, where their heart's at. What are they
Absolutely.
Yeah, and my ex was in a male-dominated sport. She's a professional athlete, and she had all these guy friends and stuff, but she wasn't willing to make any adjustments that would respect me. I mean, if I told you examples, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. So that was an ongoing issue. And you know what, like, eventually, it's just, you know, I learned from it. I take all these experiences and you learn from them and you bring wisdom into the next one.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let it be an experience, and better you have you more aligned with that perfect person for you. Exactly. My thing is, I always say to myself, and especially you, Kris, waiting, have sat back, learned a lot, paid attention to a lot of things, and not jumped in a bunch of relationships outside of, dating. And I know you dated long term, which is good, but you didn't just go take on a bunch of wives and things like that, which is really, really smart. But the thing is, that said in itself, you recognize that you didn't want to put everything you got into just anybody that didn't feel like they were giving you everything back. And we've all, you know, I'm just saying that takes a lot. That takes a lot of courage, because sometimes people just start thinking, I just want to be married. I want to, or I just want to, you know, and you got to,
in a relationship, whatever. Absolutely,
just to feel like they're in a relationship.
And I think that it's the man's job to initiate that servant heart, you know, to really like say, hey, I'm going to rescue the princess here. Like, you know, it goes back to kind of, I believe, how we're made. Like, where most little boys, like, you give them a stick and it's a sword and they want to rescue the princess from the dragon. You don't teach them that, they get it.
Yep,
so
that's correct.
We should be initiating that. And
that's right.
And it's chivalry, you know, it's a lost art that we need to restore in our culture. And that's what I really like about how you raised Lexi, because she appreciates that.
Thank you.
And I remember on first or second date, she asked me if I would open the car door for her, and I'm sorry, I wasn't used to doing that. It wasn't my habit. I'll open doors in restaurants and whatnot, but I was never like the guy that was like automatically getting the car door every time. She's like, can you open my car door? And I'm like, really? Yeah, sure. And so I did it, and at first I'm like, man, I'm going to be doing this chore forever.
Exactly. And it's funny, because when I ask her, when Lexi would go out on the dates, when she come out like, Lexi, did the person open your door? And I'm telling you, I had to train, the person out there knows what I'm talking about, I swear, and that person gripes today. Yes, open the door.
Yeah, we tease each other about it, but he absolutely does.
And I told you, I would just stand there. I would literally just stand there. I would not move, and I would stand there. And I'm not going to stand for too long. After a while, I'm like, you know what? Peace out. I'll go back in the house. I will go back in the house. And I am just that way.
So let me tell you, from my personal opinion of a guy who was not doing that before, call me a bad guy or whatever, but I was not doing that before. And now I do, and it's not that I'm like I'm whipped and, you know, I'm not a man. It's that I acknowledge that that is a good thing, and I feel when I do that, I feel like like Prince Charming that's rescuing the princess. Like,
and that's what it is, Kris.
It's a little bit of that.
It is. So, we feel like, don't leave us just hanging out here.
Yeah.
You in the car safe, and we out here now fighting the wolves. That's how it feels.
So. And that's now my habit, you know. Of course, she doesn't have to ask me to do it.
I know. I noticed now. So, I noticed she doesn't have to ask me now. And you know, I watch. I'm like, no, I don't have to worry about it now. That is really funny, and I appreciate the fact that you saw it. Yeah. You saw beyond it just looking like a chore. You saw that no, this means something to her. There's something special to her, and it is like that. I put it in almost in the same category of getting my kids in vehicle. I get my kids in first, you know, typically my small kids, because think about it, do you leave them just hanging out on the side of the vehicle and you're in the car strapped in? And I don't. You can accidentally take off.
Yeah.
Baby left out there. But yeah, I just find it as like it feels like a sort of an element of protection.
Yeah, I was just gonna
It's the
say
same scenario of walking along the streets, whatever. You walk, let them walk on the inside, correct?
Yeah,
It feels
exactly.
it feels just like that to me. So
I agree,
I'm glad he just got it and like, no, it's not even, don't question it, just do it, it's cool.
I'm happy that we're doing that because, like I said, it's a benefit to me now. It makes me, it affirms my manhood or whatever you want to call it. It makes me feel more like the role that I should be.
Good, thank you for that.
That's what's healthy for a relationship too. And then on the flip side of that, there are other things too that, you know, like Lexi's got nice nails. She's scratched my back with her nails.
Yeah, see?
It's a give and take. Like, it comes
How
back.
well you treat,
It's about
I'm telling you, you guys, how well you treat that person, especially that woman. I promise you, she's more than willing to be that back. Give you something nice back.
Yeah, I feel like Kris gives a lot, so I don't mind to give back.
You want to. That's like your sisters and her relationship. She enjoys doing things for this amazing guy.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's just easy, isn't it? To
Yeah.
just be a good person.
And not to mention this guys out there, all the guys watching this little habit will cost you zero money. Okay, you don't have to pay any money. But do you realize that you are in such a higher category
Than
in their
all
mind
the
now
others.
because of doing this simple little act of chivalry?
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm going to open the door for her every time.
That's
Car
right.
door, restaurant, home, wherever you're at.
That's correct.
I'm going to hold her hand. I'm going to stand on the dangerous side of the road when we walk. You know, these little
Well,
things, you program your mind like this, and she might be willing to overlook some of those other little defects that you have. You know? Because
But for real, oh my gosh, that is so the truth. So she will overlook something small that you're going to mess up one day in life.
Yeah.
She's going to overlook that because all that good, you know, we always talk about the good and bad list.
Exactly.
Look how much is on the good side. You're not going to focus on those tiny little things.
Exactly.
You're just not.
It's true.
That's amazing. You guys see all of this. I'm telling you.
Kris does a lot of just the little things that add up and make big things, and they mean a lot to me. And he does it without having to be asked. So
That's amazing. That truly is.
it's because she trained me well, that's why.
That's all right. Alexis, people see, you guys don't know this side of Alexis, but she would throw this panda fit and she'd slide out of the chair if he did it.
Seriously though, there's a video, YouTube it, you'll find it.
You'll find it.
Super funny.
Yeah, she has a little panda in her. Let's start calling it Panda Poo.
But you know, Kris has seen me in all of my moods, and he's still around, so we've survived.
And mine. That's a bold man. He's been around her mother's crazy moves. That's either he's afraid to leave or he gets it, but that means a lot. But this is the truth. This is what it's all about, dating, right? It's like finding that right person, connecting, letting them be a part of your family, connecting family, growing more into, now we're merging families.
Yes, exactly.
That's what this is all about. Merging families and things like that. Don't have that person you got to sneak over here and that to the other.
Include Kris in just the day-to-day things.
If you're sneaking and dating someone, you don't need to be dating that person, correct? If you can't bring them around your family eventually, you really honestly need to reassess who and what you're dating.
That we can include
It's the truth.
In simple things, whether it's just sitting down to have dinner. I like that we both can do that, you know, it's nice.
You should be willing to bring the person around eventually, around someone else that you already got, you know, that you're connected with, whatever, you know, whatever, guardian, whatever that may be, sibling or whatever. Correct? You should.
I agree, yeah.
You should be proud of who you're with. Eventually, after you, however long that takes to get to that point, but
Kris
you should be.
had a chance to build a relationship with both you and Hayden.
Exactly.
And it was just gradual, and it's just something that happened kind of on its own. But if he's here all the time, of course he's going to end up talking to you guys. So I like that happened.
So at first, because I haven't dated somebody who still lives at home, and I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just saying it was sort of new to me. It's been a long time since I've dated somebody who, you know, still live with their mother. And at first my knee-jerk reaction was, oh, I don't know, maybe she's like not mature, or you know what I mean?
Of course.
We
talked about
sure,
that.
You can have these knee-jerk reactions and stuff. But again, fall back on the virtue thing. Are the virtues in place? Is this somebody that has you know, loving characteristics and traits? Is this a healthy family environment? Is this, you know, you get to know a lot about somebody by that. And I love coming over here. It's like entertaining as can be.
Thank you.
The Gwendolyn show is always on point. You guys have no idea. I just hang back over there with popcorn. I'm just like, this is the other night we were over here, and behind us here, this became Soul Train at midnight.
I know. I kept put on that music and we started jamming. Kris is you are just so cool. And isn't it funny? Kris is the outside of Monica's husband, my baby Mara too as well. Isn't it funny that I've never shown this much of myself? Pretty much. I don't even.
And I told him that.
Yeah, I don't hang around people that I don't mesh well with that well. I just kind of keep my distance. And it's not necessarily that I'm feeling one way or the other. It's just if it doesn't come naturally, I'm not going to force it. So I just kind of chill.
And I told him,
yeah, and it's like every time Kris comes over, I know I'm bouncing around more than Alexis. I just enjoy talking. I enjoy talking to Kris a lot.
He's made himself part of his family, he's blended in, so you feel comfortable enough to just be however you want to be. He's seen Mom upset, he's seen her happy.
You've seen me in every mood, you guys, and this guy is, yes. It may be that he may be a little something here, but that's okay. We need a little bit of that. I'm telling you, so it's been amazing. It's been amazing. You guys are an amazing couple. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up, huh? So we're gonna have another session another time. Is there anything you guys wanted to share, follow up on before we get ready to chill on this one and do another one? You guys feel free if it's a little bit more you need to say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered some really good points during this topic. You know, I feel like if we open it up, it's going to go into a lot longer. So just I don't know how much time you want to keep to this. I don't know, and it's cool either way. Okay, you guys, I'm going to get ready to end here, and wanted to really thank Kris and Alexis with their great wisdom and all of the things that they've shared. You guys, there's so much more that I would love for them to share with you guys. They have so many more things to talk about, and I would like to let them come back and do some more if we can work that out. We know you're some busy people, but I really appreciate them being here. You want to say any final byes or anything, or?
We'll be back.
We'll be back. No, we'll be back.
Stay tuned.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for today's patience with us and everything like that. This is the first for us, and we're enjoying ourselves, as you can tell. So we definitely will return. But thank you so much. You guys have a good rest of the week. And remember to, first of all, turn on the little dingy. Ding, 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 ding. Turn that on. But thank you guys so much for your time. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, you guys. Bye. Peace.
You're so silly.
Peace.